The boardroom of Hallstrom Industries gleamed like glass and steel perfection, polished floors, shining tables, and the faint hum of success in the air. But beneath that shine, pushing a mop and a bucket, was Ethan Cole, a single dad in his mid-30s, wearing an old janitor uniform and the quiet dignity of a man who worked hard for every breath. Every night after everyone left, Ethan cleaned this massive place, empty coffee cups, scattered papers, and smudged glass walls that looked out over the New York skyline. To most, he was invisible. To him, this was survival. He had a little girl, Lily, just 9 years old, bright, curious, with glasses that always slid down her nose. She was the reason he kept going, the reason he smiled even when life gave him nothing to smile about. But tonight wasn't like every other night. The CEO of the company, Madeline Hart, one of the most powerful women in the country, was hosting an emergency late-night meeting with foreign investors. Her translator, a young man in an expensive suit, was speaking in Japanese, or trying to. Ethan was quietly wiping the glass door from the outside, trying to stay unnoticed. But as the translator spoke, something caught his ear. The investor's brows furrowed, the CEO's polite smile froze, and Ethan realized the translation was wrong. Not just a little wrong, dangerously wrong. The translator had said, "We can guarantee your losses will be covered." But the Japanese executive had actually said, "We cannot guarantee any coverage of loss." It was the kind of mistake that could cost the company millions. Ethan froze, mop in hand. He knew he shouldn't interrupt, he was the janitor, after all. But something inside him, maybe his sense of honesty, maybe that voice his daughter always reminded him to listen to, wouldn't let him stay silent. He hesitated for just a second, then lightly knocked on the glass door. Everyone turned. The translator frowned. The CEO looked annoyed. "Sorry," Ethan said softly, clutching his mop. "I didn't mean to interrupt. But I think there's been a mistake." Madeline's sharp eyes narrowed. "Excuse me." Ethan swallowed. He didn't say they guarantee losses. He said they couldn't. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I speak a little Japanese. I just thought you should know." The room went silent. The translator looked embarrassed, then defensive. "That's not true." But the Japanese investor suddenly smiled. He leaned forward and said something directly to Ethan. Ethan replied fluently. The translator's face went pale. The CEO's jaw dropped. For the next 30 seconds, Ethan and the investor exchanged words, simple, respectful, and clear. When Ethan finished translating back in English, the investor laughed warmly and nodded in appreciation. Madeline blinked, stunned. "You speak Japanese?" Ethan nodded modestly. "Yes, ma'am. I studied linguistics before things got rough. I was working on a PhD before my wife passed away. I never got to finish." The CEO stared at him, realizing what she had almost lost, not just a deal, but the quiet brilliance of a man the world had overlooked. The meeting ended successfully, the investors were impressed, the translator was dismissed, and the deal was saved. After everyone left, Madeline stayed behind. Ethan, embarrassed, went back to mopping the floor. She walked up quietly, heels clicking against the tile. "Ethan, right?" "Yes, ma'am." "Why didn't you ever say you were qualified for more than this?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Because sometimes, ma'am, people don't ask. And I didn't want to lose the job I already had. Lily needs me steady." Madeline looked at him for a long moment. Then she said softly, "Come back tomorrow. Not with a mop. I want you in a meeting room at 10 a.m. as my new assistant translator." Ethan froze, his eyes glistening. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," she said with a smile. "And I think we'll start you on a salary that actually matches your brain." He tried to speak, but words failed him. He simply nodded, whispered thank you, and walked out with tears in his eyes. That night, he tucked Lily into bed and told her the story. She gasped in excitement, hugging him tight. "See, Daddy, Mom always said good things happen to good people." He smiled through tears. "Yeah, baby. I think she was right." Weeks passed. Ethan now wore a suit instead of a janitor uniform. He had his own desk, his own nameplate, and a sense of worth that glowed brighter than the skyline outside. Every morning, he'd drop Lily at school, buy her favorite muffin, and whisper, "Keep learning, sweetheart. No one can take knowledge away." Madeline often stopped by his office, not to give orders but to ask for advice. She trusted him not just because of his skills, but because of his heart. One evening, at another big investor meeting, the same Japanese executive approached Ethan. He handed him a small, wrapped box. Inside was a traditional Japanese calligraphy brush, with a note that read, "To the man who understood our words and our hearts." Ethan smiled, bowing slightly. "Arigato gozaimasu." As the investor walked away, Ethan looked out the window at the glowing city below. He thought about the nights he mopped these same floors, unseen and unheard. And now, he realized something beautiful: sometimes, the world doesn't change for you. You just keep doing the right thing until it finally notices. Narrator softly, Ethan's story isn't just about luck. It's about humility, courage, and the quiet power of doing your best even when no one's watching. He wasn't trying to impress anyone that night. He was just being honest. And that simple act of honesty changed his life and his daughter's forever. Because sometimes, the people cleaning the room are the ones who understand it best. Soft music swells and fades out. Moral of the story: Sparkle's kindness, honesty, and humility may go unnoticed for a while, but they never go unrewarded. Sparkles.